Hi, I'm Anthony Deffenbaugh, and for my field research paper, I decided to do mine over Eastern music. I've always had a fascination with Eastern music just because on how unique it is. It's not like anything else around the world. It's very different from the music we listen here in the United States, which would be considered Western music. So, my first approach to this research was to contact somebody who writes Eastern music. So, originally, I was going to contact Chin Yi here at UMKC, but I waited too late to where things were getting really busy. Spring break was about to happen, and I needed to get started. So, my backup plan was to contact my friend, Bing Veen, who lives in Hong Kong. Bing and I met in 2014 up at the Interlochen Arts Academy. I was up there for the week-long saxophone institute, and he was up there for the cello institute as well as for the World Youth Symphony. Beans and I's friendship started. It's really funny. Like we were bunkmates, and he was on the top bunk, which is about a 6 feet off the ground. And the first night he rolled off and fell on the floor. And after that, I kind of just gave him trouble for it. And we just kind of built a friendship around that, as bad as that seems. But getting to know him, like he told me, he writes compositions, a lot of Eastern music, and I've listened to a few, which they were really good. And so and after hearing that, and then remembering that from when we met at the institute, I decided to interview him about Eastern music. So getting up at midnight, so I can get him at 1 in the afternoon, which was his free time. We did a 2-hour interview. Sadly, we did not get and cover enough because with his schedule, and also I was just tired and having a hard time understanding his accent. I didn't get as much information as I wanted to, but I got enough, more than enough that I could be able to do this project. We talked a lot about the scales and the instruments because those are the things that really interest me. So the scales, like a lot of Eastern music, what he told me is written using pentatonic scales. One of the scales he told me was the gong scale, which is C, D, E, G, and A. And he would play it on each one of these on the piano, and then we would talk about it a little bit. And after going through a few of the scales, we talked about some of the instruments. The instruments, I can't even pronounce their names, but he kind of told me like what the translation kind of meant from, I can't remember what language, but from Chinese to English. And then we went on an interesting topic on how a lot of these instruments were the same, especially the strings. And I was kind of a bit confused on that because like some of the strings are like 2 strings, as for normally I believe we have 4 or 5 strings on like the instruments we play here in the United States. And he says you apply the same kind of fundamentals, like you'll have to play cello, you need your fingers, and depending on the placement of your finger and when you're pushing down on the strings, and then the bow, the position you have the bow and what strings you're hitting, it makes a sound. Well, he said it's the same concept for those, as well as if you pluck them. And that's something I never really considered, because whenever I see a different instrument, I don't think, oh, how is that played? Or it's like it must take a completely different approach. So after 2 hours of us talking about this, kind of getting back together, talking about scales and the instruments, I was able to get enough information to type up this summary paper. I hope you enjoy reading it.